I'm your host, Lo Silva, and today with me I have Matt Wheeler. He is the co-founder of DriftRock. Matt, what's going on?
Hey guys, nice to meet you. Thanks for having us on.
So Matt's going to actually be doing something pretty cool. He's actually going to walk us through one of the apps that DriftRock has. Before we do that, I kind of want to get to know Matt a little bit and talk a little bit more about DriftRock and specifically this Twitter card marketing that basically we are going to be teaching you guys right now. So Matt, tell me a little bit about how you got started.
Cool, yeah. So I've been in digital marketing a long time. My first campaign I kicked off when I was 14, just doing some SEO stuff for my mum's fancy dress business. And that kind of got me into entrepreneurship, and you know, so I was a 14-year-old kid making money in my bedroom. So I thought this is a pretty cool lifestyle. So when I graduated from uni, I went into a company doing a lot of kind of internet marketing stuff. I got a chance to play around with sending a lot of traffic from Google AdWords through to various affiliate programs back when it used to be kind of open and a lot of fun. And then got a chance. If you're doing if you were sending tons of traffic through to these different sites, so what we want to do is kind of rather just send it through to other sites, actually start building up our own portfolio companies and doing it ourselves. So yeah, I got a chance to start a mobile comparison site, which went okay, and then later started helping other startups as well with their marketing stuff. Fast forward today, and DriftRock is kind of the kind of end result of that. So we're building a set of tools that are designed to help companies get a better return, make more money from their social ads. So building tools for Twitter, for Facebook, and that kind of stuff.
And one of the tools is excuse me, lead response, which is based on generating leads through Twitter cards, correct?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So Twitter's got an awesome product called Lead Cards. Being a performance marketer is my favorite type of ad product with Twitter. It's Twitter's kind of first foray into doing direct response advertising. So with a click on a button on Twitter, you can send through a lead straight through to the advertiser, an email address that they signed up to with Twitter, which is like immensely powerful advertising if you for B2B lead gen, for coupon codes, for whatever it might be. So what we try to do with lead response is make the most of those leads. So rather than just kind of collect them in some CSV to use later within in a few days or something. Lead response is all about utilizing those leads in real time. So the leads get sent straight from Twitter to lead response, where we'll then fire back the leads to the emails to back those users, or send them off to sales teams or whatever it might be. But the end result is that we're trying to be a bit more creative with those campaigns, do a few more things, and convert more leads, basically.
Cool. So I'll kind of let you take over because I know you have some stuff to show us with screen share. So it's all yours.
Cool. Thanks, Lois. Sweet. Yeah. So I guess a good place to start. I'm sure you guys have familiar with kind of basic Twitter stuff, Twitter ads, but I thought I'd run through a few foundation stuff just to kind of set the groundwork for lead cards, which is a bit more technical, but more powerful. So jumping into to Twitter, let's just fire that up. Cool. So yeah, just so you're all familiar with the interface. Just a few kind of so the ads you can run as a kind of mix of different ad formats. It's not as crazy variations as Facebook. There's a few different things, but so you've got promoted accounts which will show up here or potentially in the timeline. So in the timeline, you can show promoted tweets, which is this. Strategy is really quite similar to Facebook in that you've basically got a chance to target people by what they're interested in. Is really powerful on Twitter with a piece of content that you think is valuable to them. It's like the start of a conversation. So So this is a promoted tweet here, and obviously that tweet can contain any kind of content or images or links to more content. And in the case of Twitter lead cards, it's actually extended that tweet. So those are kind of different ad formats, and targeting those, you can target all sorts of different users by different interest targets. So one really basic example is we could target users of Startup Jungle. So anyone who follows Startup Jungle or who is similar to people who are following Startup Jungle, we can target them with promoted tweets. You can target users by keywords they're mentioning in tweets. So if anyone mentions the word growth hacking in a tweet, then we can show a promoted tweet to those users as well. So there's a load of options, and like the interest targeting side of Twitter ads is incredibly powerful. It's people are on Twitter to consume content, and they're following things they're interested in. So no one's that surprised when you give them something that's really valuable, like a piece of content they can get into.
So real quick, is the bigger goal using this to create native ads and draw people into our marketing strategies and get to know us a little bit more, or take them to an email, or take them directly to an offer? What do you think is best?
So I think it's kind of depends on the objective you've got for your business, but I mean it's you can get quite creative and do a whole lot of different things. We've done campaigns sending direct from a tweet with a URL straight through to some either a landing page to buy something. So literally direct response advertising, and we've got campaigns like that profitable and they work. We've also tried campaigns where we're doing through to content blog articles, which then we're building some relationship with it as a brand. And then lead cards, you're generating leads which you can then convert later down the line with your email automation and email marketing. So there's a whole range, but I think what Twitter ads kind of started out with this is mainly about brand building and that kind of stuff, and the ad products they've been releasing more recently have been really good for direct response and performance marketing. So if your goal is if you're a B2B company trying to generate leads for your sales pipeline, then Twitter's great for that. Or if you want to send through to a site with a conversion, it's great for that now as well.
Nice.
Cool. So I'll jump into the ads platform and give you guys a tour if you haven't seen it already. So this is DriftRock. So it's not a lot going on there today, so that's pretty perfect for what we're going to show. So this is Twitter's ads interface. You've got multiple campaigns, and within each campaign, you've then got tweets. Similar to like an AdWords or Facebook account structure. Twitter charges advertisers based on a cost per engagement. So if we were to click on a tweet, on a link of a tweet, or whether we were to click it and open it, or reply, or retweet that tweet, or favorite it, then that's an engagement, and Twitter will charge us a cost per engagement for that. As a marketer, you're not necessarily optimizing for customer engagement. You're optimizing for something that you care about. So it might be a lead, or it might be a click through to your website, or a sale. The engagements are kind of useful to see how well that tweet's doing or how well that campaign's doing. But you should always be kind of optimizing for the thing you care about, so the actual conversion itself. But we've got clicks here, which mean a click on anything. It's not necessarily a click on your link. So it's really important to kind of bear that in mind. Retweets, replies, follows, and lead gen cards. So leads from lead cards we're going to go through. So one kind of really quick tip before I get into lead cards is make sure, because you're optimizing for the thing you care about, whether that's someone clicking through to your website, remove all the other kind of possible engagements from that tweet that might mean that the user is interacting with the tweet in the way that you're going to get charged for something, but not necessarily going to get you the value. So if you put a tweet out there with a hashtag marketing, people might click on that hashtag to go through to look at more marketing tweets and not necessarily engage with your content. So that's kind of a really quick tip before we get into that. So in lead cards, we'd make sure that we're just focusing everyone on the leads that can get those cards through.
Got it.
Cool. So Twitter lead cards look a bit like like this. Let's find one. So we've actually pinned one to our profile on GIFROC. So there's a kind of like really obvious use for lead cards, which is so this is a lead card. It's an extension of the 140 character tweet. So here's we've got an additional bit of copy, an image, and a massive call to action which we can click on. So this call to action then sends the email address which I signed up to Twitter with, and sends an email to that sends that email to the advertiser, which is us in this case. So basically. It's an extension of that tweet, and allows people to send you a lead directly from Twitter without ever having to leave it. So it kind of reduces the length of the funnel, which is really cool. And so yeah, so you can do that for kind of traditional kind of newsletter subscription, an obvious one. But what we've kind of built with lead response is the ability to then send an email back to those users in real time. So if someone clicks on this link here, and what's going to happen is my email address is now being sent off to lead response, and lead response is now going to send me back an email with this ebook in that I can download and use. So suddenly, when you've got this auto response set up, you can get way more creative with what you can do with a lead card. So so in this case, we're sending an ebook, but you could send a coupon code, or you could send back something saying one of our sales team will be in touch shortly. But it's a way of kind of, you know, if someone said hey in the street, and it's a way of saying hey back, basically. So continuing that conversation as quick as possible. And the longer you leave that response, then the less likely that lead is to convert.
So you don't have to actually put in your email, because you're already connected to Twitter. It understands that, and when you're clicking, it grabs the email from Twitter.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So the email address that you've got on record with Twitter is that. So as someone clicks that button, that's the email address that gets sent through to the advertiser. So you know, it's really low touch. It's really easy for the user to send that lead through. So it's you know, you're more likely to get those conversions.
Yeah, that's really big. That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah. And so yes, and it's pretty. So it's kind of, there's a few steps to set them up, but they're you know, once you get going, it's really powerful. So you know, I can walk through how we approach it. So kind of, I think the more exciting stuff is when you're sending auto response emails. So I'll kind of demo it with lead response. You can use any email automation system, but it's they're often not built for Twitter. So so this is kind of our approach to making it much simpler and much more powerful. So I'll kind of demo that stuff.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah, so the first thing we want to do is set up an endpoint for sending those leads to. We're going to do that with lead response. So let's just fire up GIFROC. So GIFROC's one of the apps on. Lead response is one of the apps on GIFROC, and so once you've kind of installed it, you can just start using it. And the whole idea is that it's a really simple kind of wizard-based approach. So what we're going to do now is going to create a destination for all these leads to go through in real time. If you were to create it without an endpoint like this, then it's fine. You can still get the leads, but you basically get to download a CSV 3 hours later, which is okay. But by that point, you probably lost the conversion, and you also don't get a chance to do some really cool creative campaigns that we'll show you can create now.
Yeah, definitely. The best thing, one of the best things about this, I think, is being able to connect someone immediately.
Mm-hmm. It's huge. I mean, we tried it. We started doing lead cards when they first came out, and the reason we built lead response in the first place is we just weren't getting the results we wanted from the lead cards. I think as soon as you start responding to people in real time, your conversion rates just go through the roof. So we'll go through that now. So simple wizard-based approach. So I don't know, we can set up some campaign. I thought I'd actually do. We've got a $50 voucher for Twitter ad credit that some of you guys might want to get your hands on. So we're going to create a campaign for that, which we can give away. So the idea of this campaign, the strategy is we're going to create a lead card where people can click it on Twitter, and we'll send them a coupon code for $50 in ad credit for Twitter, so they can use it for the campaigns. And hopefully we can get some sign-ups to lead response as well with that campaign. So we can call it the $50 campaign. So yeah, this is the kind of email response stuff. So you can choose a kind of template style. So we're going to just click on a coupon code. So the idea is really quickly to create a really, an auto-response email that's going to respond to people. So subject line, here's the voucher. And you can obviously you want to test something and make it a bit more creative than that. And we're going to do something like contact@DriftRock is where it's going to come from. And the reply to name, you can tag with UTM if you've got any links in there for extra tracking and stuff. And so what it creates is an email that looks a bit like this. You can add a cool kind of image header as well. So you might want to put in some kind of branding elements as well, or you can actually just go straight HTML and do something cool with it. But I found like the most simple emails work the best. So I don't know if you guys can see that with the screen share, what just popped up actually.
The axis.
Yeah, so we've got. I just clicked a preview. So if you click on the preview button, you get to see the email, but it looks a bit like this.
Okay.
So basically, yeah. So we can add our coupon code in here. So I don't know, 50 Twitter. That'll be the coupon code, and then you can click redeem. That'll be a link or something that then sends through to a landing page. In this case, we'll actually kind of tailor the email and send the coupon code right through to you guys. But that's the kind of approach. How do you want to set it up?
So you don't need to be inside the Twitter platform. You can do it inside DriftRock, correct?
Yeah. So the first part of this we can do inside DriftRock. So we can create the endpoint in DriftRock first. So before we can create the cards on Twitter, we need to create to where we're going to send these cards and what's going to happen to when we send these leads and what's going to happen to those leads. So this is the first part of that. So what's going to happen now is we'll go through. We've now got the email set up. You can also send a remail if people don't open that email. That comes through in 3 days. I'm going to skip that for now, but you can set up another template. And if you want to, you can send an email to your sales team as well. So we could do sales@DriftRock or something like that, so that our sales team get these leads in real time as well. And then we're done. So what that gives you is this endpoint URL, which we can then use when we create the campaigns in Twitter to send those leads to. So you just kind of copy and paste that URL and then head back to Twitter to start generating those leads. So we're going to fire up ads again. So the way lead cards works on Twitter is you can attach a lead card to the tweet, to a promoted tweet. So you do a normal promoted tweet campaign, but you'd attach that lead card to it. So we're going to go into cards here, and so these are some cards we did earlier. But so we're going to create a new one. So the short description is is what goes along the top of the lead cards. So I don't know, click here for $50. Add credit, something like that. A nice call to action that's going to get people to engage with that content. And you can play around with that. You can create multiple cards. You can test different variations and see what works and what doesn't work. You can see what the cost per lead was for each different variation of your different cards. But that's a kind of another piece of content you can play around with.
Nice.
And then we're kind of uploading an image, so we're going to go for this. We created the images have to be these dimensions, 4:1 aspect ratio and stuff like that, but they're pretty simple to set up. So this is another opportunity to add some creative content. In this case, we've kind of done this kind of voucher code design. I think we just used iStock photo and just kind of tweaked it, played around with that a little bit, or Shutterstock or something like that. And then claim coupon, and then that's kind of the call to action that's going to go on this button here. And that's really important. What goes on this button is going to be, it's like any kind of element on your website. You can play around with that button, and the different copy here is going to massively affect your conversion rate to leads. So try a few different variations with a few different codes. So we need a privacy policy for Twitter for the kind of the legal side of things with sending leads across. So you just need to add some drink graph. That's not what we're going for. So we want drift rock. So we're going to do if we had a privacy policy maybe on that URL, that's what we'd add. The card fallback URL is, so if someone's on desktop or or if they haven't logged into Twitter, where do they get sent to? So what's quite useful about that is maybe sending through to an alternative landing page for stuff. It's not, I wouldn't worry about that too much, but that's kind of edge case. But if someone sees that Twitter lead card on Twitter without being logged into Twitter and they can't send their lead across, then this is a kind of fallback option.
Okay.
And then we get onto the kind of more complicated side of this is the data settings, but this is where we get the real power from the Twitter lead cards. So that URL that we worked on earlier, which we copied and pasted in, this lead response endpoint, we're just going to copy and paste it into the submit URL form here. And there's no more setup than that. There's no more complicated kind of things to do. It's just chuck that URL in. It doesn't matter whether you do get or post, and then basically so as those leads come in real time, they'll get sent through to this URL, and awesome stuff's going to happen on the lead response side. So that email that we set up as a template earlier is going to get fired back to the user as they submit their lead tree.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, just the fact that you can do that. And then let's talk a little bit about what do you suggest as far as people kind of getting started with Twitter and Twitter cards? What would be the best initial campaign to start running?
So I think it's got to come back to your objectives. So for DriftRock, we use lead cards for a number of different things. The first thing we tried was giving away some content marketing for free. So we're a B2B company. We're trying to attract marketers to come on and use our tools. So we put together a free guide for people to use. And so people click that button, they get the ebook free. That's great brand awareness, and it's an easy, low-touch campaign to create. But if you're a company with maybe an e-commerce company or something like that, where you've got a clear transaction, then maybe you want to try a coupon campaign. Click here to get 10% off your first purchase or something like that. It's a real call to action, drives those sales through. And it's a cool thing to get on Twitter. It's a reward. It's not a painful experience to get a free a coupon or something, and it's quite different. And then if you're a B2, the other thing we use lead cards for on DriftRock is that kind of B2B sales stuff. So if someone we could put a tweet out saying click here to get some help with your Twitter lead card campaigns, and talk to one of our sales team. They click on the lead, then it gets sent to our sales team. We can follow up and close that sale.
I love the immediacy of it. Just how fast someone connects, and then it immediately goes to your sales team. That's extremely powerful for B2Bs and B2C.
That's it, exactly. So in that notification thing, just set up one of your sales team email, and they'll get that straight in their inbox. We've also got an option for kind of advanced users if people want to send directly through to their sales automation system. We can set up a kind of CRM output from lead response as well for those super advanced users. But instead of going to an email inbox, it could go straight to your sales pipeline where you can respond to it through that.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty impressive as well. This is awesome, man. Thank you.
Cool, pleasure. And so once you got your card set up, just the final piece of the puzzle is just to create that tweet, create that promoted tweet and attach that lead card. So I'm not going to go into that in too much detail, but it's pretty straightforward. So if you've created a Twitter campaign before, it's pretty easy. Promoted tweet campaign is the one we want. And once you've gone through your naming your campaign, and we've chosen some targeting, so maybe we're going to go out Startup Jungle again. So I'm going to try and poach some of your readers. We can even put low silver in there, but let's go for Startup Jungle. So I tend to turn off targeting your own followers and users like your own followers, and just focus on what we really care about, which is getting the fans of this to see this tweet.
Question on targeting. Do you, for testing purposes, do you focus on, let's say this one is for Startup Jungle, would the next one be just for, let's say, Twitter, and then maybe run a third one that would be just for Mixpanel or just something like that?
Yeah, I think so. It kind of depends how much time you've got in a day, but I mean, the optimum thing would be to have a bunch of separated targeting groups by different handles that are really closely related.
Yeah.
So I think if you had we had Startup Jungle in here, and maybe we could put you in there, Lois, but I think we wouldn't want something that's there's distance. So even we've targeted things like TechCrunch and Mashable audiences before, and so actually we separate those out to see exactly which of those audiences converts the best for us. So TechCrunch might have a lower CPA for us than the Mashable audience. So unless you separate those two targeting groups out into different campaigns, you won't know which ones of those are working better than the other ones.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. It's always better to just do one campaign per, because that way you really know what's working and what's not working rather than having to guess at the end of the day. A lot of people do that with Facebook. They do 4 or 5 different things on the targeting, and then they don't know what's working and what's not. You got to start cutting them off. I just rather start with one and then keep moving.
That's it, yeah. I mean, and there's kind of there's obviously a balance between how much time you can spend on stuff, but yeah, the optimum would be to create really granular targeting groups that you can play around with.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of, so we're targeting interest and followers, and we've got Startup Jungle in there, and you can get more granular than that as well. So you can add in, we're going to target United States. And we're going to maybe even we think that the males or females convert better, so we can target that. I think for this we probably wouldn't care. You can target mobile devices and things. One thing to bear in mind about Twitter ads is Twitter's over 80% mobile.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a mobile optimized site, then kind of your audience is really pretty small. So make sure you've optimized your site for mobile.
What is the tailored audience? Is that the Twitter's version of custom audience?
Yeah, I think it will become that. I think it is that for a few different things, but I think so. Yeah, it's the opportunity to either upload @ handles or upload email addresses and be able to target those things. So there's a few options here. Oh, that's cool. Let's actually start doing this stuff now. But yeah, you need to use a partner to be able to upload these different audiences. But yeah, I think over time it's going to become more self-serve. But right now you can use things like AdRoll to set up kind of retargeting lists where people that you can start marketing to email lists that you've acquired through your own website.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. Interesting. Cool.
Yeah, and keywords is pretty cool. So if someone mentions the keyword, I don't know, lead cards in a tweet, you can target that. So we could say anything containing, using phrase match, anything containing lead cards in a tweet, we're going to target people who have mentioned that in their tweets. So it's another way of targeting interest-based based stuff. So it's not just who they're following, but also what they're talking about.
Would you suggest targeting hashtags at all, or kind of stay away from that?
Yeah, you might have noticed we had a tweet running in our campaigns earlier, which was so a couple of campaigns we were running were targeting conferences. So while there's a conference on, there's loads of marketers who are interacting with stuff. Anyone who mentions that hashtag is going to be a customer of ours. So so mentioning hashtags is absolutely great. You could even, if you're feeling really, if you want some serious volume, you could even try advertising on a trending topic.
That would probably work really well.
Cool. And so yes, that's the kind of the basic targeting option. So I mean, what Twitter's really powerful for is that interest targeting. It's really, you can get really quite granular with the kind of people that might be interested in your content. And like I said, if we're giving away a free $50 ad credit for people who are interested in starting Twitter ads. If you can find those people who are interested in doing Twitter ads, so targeting Startup Jungle customers, that's going to be, that's not just an advert. That's something that's really useful for them. So you can get quite powerful with that.
Do you have any suggestions or anything on someone getting started, kind of like a daily spend to, get their feet wet?
I tend to do campaigns maybe $20 minimum at a time. I think
A day or for the full campaign?
a day for that campaign. And bear in mind that's you might have that $20 might be that's per campaign. So for every targeting group that you're targeting, you might add another $20. I think it's kind of people will tell you that in order to get into Twitter, you need you need to spend 5K over 3 months. But I think if you've got some content like this, some tutorials where you've got a bit of a head start, you definitely don't need to be spending that kind of money to give it a try and test out some campaigns. So I think for our ebook campaign, we spent $50, $100 and across a couple of days, and we worked out that it was a really good campaign, and that we wanted to invest more budget into it. So I think that's a decent amount of budget for an experiment that you want to try out.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Matt. This has been awesome. Awesome. Anything else you want to add, or anything like that in regards to Twitter lead cards, or anything that we might have missed?
No, I think we're good. And if anyone wants to hit me up for any kind of extra advice, then feel free to drop me a note on my Twitter handle, or at Matt Wheeler without the last D, or just drop us a note on DriftRock, and we'll get in touch and help you guys out. But yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it very much. With that said, guys, if you want to follow Matt, it's at Matt Wheeler without the last T, correct?
The last E, yeah.
And also driftrock.com is the site, and we will have all that on the show notes as well. And they have a few